All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is Thursday, July 28th, 2022, and we are just ending or getting past the all foreboding FOMC meeting minutes and press conference from yesterday. We're interpreting what the market is telling us as far as the rally that we saw yesterday. Bit of an explosive rally, especially during the press conference, as we saw the S&Ps break over 400 once again, getting past that sort of critical psychological price and closing slightly above, albeit in the pre-market, we're pretty much right back at that $400 or $4,000 level. I like to bring back up the expected move just for clarity here, because the S&P from a pricing perspective was expecting this type of volatility. We did see at the weekly expected move, our top end was about 40.58. So we really haven't quite met the weekly volatility, and yet we are seeing excuse me, we are seeing a lot of that short-term volatility actually come off. I'm gonna see if I can get this cough resolved before I continue. Okay. So short-term volatility has been coming off, especially now that we have the news in front of us. There is a bit of preparation for this meeting, especially if there was going to be a downside move. But overall, the market did rally, and a lot of that volatility has once again come back to relatively nominal levels. You note stuff like the volatility futures, small pullbacks, and an overall just decline, no real massive spike in volatility. And this is where we're seeing relatively good prices for hedging, but we're not seeing any reaction yet. So once again, if you're looking at hedging a portfolio or just grabbing some potential downside risk structure inside of volatility, you may want to consider this time frame as an ideal time, but you also want to give it a little bit of time to work. Really, we're not seeing anything short term as of yet. So a couple of notes from our discussion about the balance range. I wanted to call out the clarity that this balance range level has been giving us as intraday traders, noting that yesterday we were sitting above our balance range lows, 394.04 or 03. That particular price level acted as support. We rallied against it all the way to our balance range highs. We actually broke out a bit intraday, and then we pulled back in leading into the FOMC. So these particular levels defined relative balance range risk. And the reason it's important is because Monday was a lot of preparatory activity for this discussion or for this call. Those levels and the fact that most of the transactions occurred within them means that we can interpret it as a risk range. And just like most ranges, if you're below it, you often will look for back testing and fading it. And that's what we saw on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we traveled through it. And then, of course, on the actual announcement, we actually rallied from it. This was actually a trade taken in the BBT chat room where we got long the SPY as soon as volume started to come in off of this level. And we carried the SPY higher up to about 400. Obviously, it did go a bit higher, but that, of course, was some continuation on the rally. So structurally, daily uptrend is going to be our guide moving forward. You'll notice that the pullback down to previous support was indicative of a strong upthrust in the future. Obviously, not necessarily the speed of the upthrust being called out, but this is just your classic getting out of a range. It's also sort of a 1, 2, 3 setup from a corrective wave, because we did have a spike high, we cleared it, and we came back and back tested it. So for now, bulls kind of have the market. We're going to be looking if Apple, Amazon, or any of our earnings this week are going to correct this move. But as long as this structure remains, we do have trend line support. And we do have the idea that these rallies should be more expansive than the pullbacks. And as long as that continues, this uptrend structurally remains intact. So looking at this conceptually and how to get engaged with it, we may want to wait and see how the market responds for the rest of the week. But there were some buying opportunities on the pullback. I would also say that a lot of our key stocks are setting up in similar ways. You kind of note how after earnings, you get this speculative rally, you get the back test, and then the market can often respond bullish or bearish. Usually on the back test is the time to get engaged with the trade. You have to really choose a bias at that point. And with breakouts, you often want to stay on the side of the breakout until proven otherwise. Usually a good breakout will never have to really fill gaps, and they will also never have to pull in too deep into the VPOC portion of the previous range. So a volume profile would state that so long as Tesla holds above its pivot, so long as Tesla doesn't pull back to VPOC, this is a rally that can continue until our next value zone, which sits at about 900. So these are just concepts that are showing themselves very quickly due to the size of yesterday's rally. And conceptually, they're just technical structure. Whether or not you take advantage of them is really up to your risk tolerance and your identification of these levels. Now, all that said, we're looking at this week as a very shaky week to trust certain things due to the overnight gap potential. Stocks like Meta did report yesterday. Meta hasn't really been one of those stocks that can move the S&P like it used to. And that's mostly because it's lost significant market cap. It's actually number 11 in the S&P holdings, where it used to be, I believe, top 5 at one point near the all-time high. So definitely not the stock that it used to be. However, it is quite volatile. It can move, on an actual earnings expected move, it can move approximately 10% of its total percentage. And therefore, if we were to see that full movement, obviously that would affect the S&P just because of the size of the price adjustment. So Meta so far is really not doing anything outside of expectation. The market was pricing a pretty high expected move. This was up to about 16 at yesterday's close. And if you joined us on the closing bell show, there's actually a live trade taken on this. We'll see if that does come to fruition later next week. So, trying to think what else. Dollar did pull back slightly, kind of still keeping an eye on this neckline area. We haven't lost it with the type of conviction that I would like to see. And therefore, we can still kind of stay elevated at this time. But on yesterday's rally, we saw a couple of asset classes rally with the rest of the market. Gold and silver saw strength. Both of these are kind of back testing or testing their moving average resistance, coming off of a very extreme low. We also saw crude, which had a short-term intraday rally. This is actually holding its range support. We're going to kind of see if energy needs to go a bit higher here, because the rally in natural gas was certainly unexpected. The V reversal here, I think, was also a bit unexpected. You can tell the type of volatility we got as we breached the high. This is usually indicative of a bunch of shorts getting run over, because you get shorts kind of anticipating fades or starting to place bets mid-range. And if catalyst or otherwise kind of breaks that model, they'll usually get stopped out when we make a new high. So a bit of a high volatility market in the energy space. And you compare that with some of the other commodity classes, which are for the most part just pulling back: copper, platinum. A lot of these have corrected 20-30%, and we're just seeing mild corrections back to the upside. And the last one I wanted to call out was gasoline. You'll note we're actually kind of feeling this more as a consumer. We saw massive spikes in gasoline pricing. This was nationwide and potentially across international borders, but this has come down. We've seen sort of that relative peak for the time being. We've seen a drawdown so far. You'll be noticing this as gas prices come off at the pump. And what we're going to be looking for is there going to be another driver that kind of brings us back to an elevated position, or at this point, are we starting to stabilize? As far as the chart is concerned, this got a bit overblown. The pullback here can last for quite a while, and we can just simply fade back to our stable levels, the price ranges that have been more in play historically. Anywhere in that range is kind of your normal nominal type level. Volume profile also dictates there's a lot of value in this middle range. So just classic range and volume profile analysis there on gasoline. Okay. As far as the rest of the week, I don't really have too much more to state about the structure of the market. I would say keep an eye on your leaders, especially during the previous rally. Tech was our leader yesterday. And if we look at the past week performance, we still have a bit of a bullish lean towards energy, but tech is starting to catch up. These two right here are in decline relative on the week, but yesterday they were part of our leadership group. So whether you're doing stuff short term or sort of maybe a week or two out, still be careful with kind of assessing risk on some of the risk on areas of the market. Keep an eye on whether these sectors continue to perform in your favor. And also keep an eye on HYG. This was something I brought to attention about a week and a half ago. The idea that a market in a risk on environment will often see corporate debt actually rising. And this is one of those gauges where we did have a range breakout here. I was kind of looking to see if this area could be cleanly broken from. We did get the rally in the market off of the rally in this particular ETF. Similar pullback here, and now we're starting to head a little bit higher. Still got a lot of work to do as far as a full recovery, but the signs are definitely bullish at the moment. We're seeing a little bit more risk appetite come into the market, and this is a guide for that, especially when you look at things like the volume. There was a rise in the volume. We can easily see a pullback here, but that pullback is likely to be assessed as a buying opportunity. And I would hope that the market kind of responds in favor. So I think outside of that, I don't have much else. I can kind of go over yields right now, the bond market, but overall the structure now is for the rest of the week. We have a couple of earnings. Apple and Amazon are in focus for this afternoon. I'd keep an eye on Meta today just in case it starts to move more aggressively post earnings. And I would also keep an eye on Friday's earnings. We do have Chevron and Exxon. So if you're kind of monitoring the energy stocks, these two names are going to be ones to focus on because they're basically our biggest players. And they're both reporting on Friday. So beyond these names, beyond sort of assessing the risk to reward buying into this rally, we're definitely coming to our balance range target for this rally. We went from an oversold, and we're pretty much at the top end now. I would expect there to be some defense as a bear anywhere in this range. This is kind of like one of those areas to stall the market, or basically to fade the market. If we don't see that, and especially over the next couple of weeks, as we start to maybe reclaim 410 and 420, those levels are super important for continuation. They indicate that the market is no longer in a weekly downtrend. We have a short-term uptrend that's formed. It's on the daily. It's arguably on the weekly as well, but we haven't cleared the pivot. And that's where a lot of people might be waiting to reassess another bearish attempt, along with reassessing, should I buy the next dip? So keep those levels in mind. I'd also keep your balance range on the deck. These levels are so impactful that if the rally fades today or tomorrow, I would expect the fade to come back to balance. 395, 75, those price levels from Monday are so important for the trade this week that even if we fade, I'd actually be looking for them to be retested. So with all that said, we have another 15 minutes. I'll go over any suggestions. So let's look at AMAT. Okay. So looks like AMAT is breaking over previous high. We have a strong low to high rally here of about 27%. And similar to the market, we have this big pivot that occurred here. So what are some levels that you might want to pay attention to? I would argue here was kind of our low end. There was a high volume test. We swung back to the highs. This was the breakdown, high volume bringing us lower. And then it looks like we did a 1, 2, 3 to get down here. So breaking out of the lower range has already occurred. Similar idea, once you break out of a pivot, this back test is important. So for now, the bulls have it on AMAT. They back tested already the swing highs, and they're going higher. The question now is, should you get engaged as a bull, or should you fade it slightly higher? I would say that this is a tough area. You're going to see some defense here as a bear, and you're going to see some defense here as a bull, which means AMAT can do this back and forth. I would argue that the market is strong. As long as the market stays strong, this has a more upside left in it. It looks strong. It's already back tested, but this is a great chart to analyze how you could have gotten engaged earlier. There's clear resistance here at the swing highs, and once you break it and close above, you wait for the back test and you just get engaged. You don't know how long it's going to take to go higher, but that's where you get engaged as a bull. So same gaps as the market. Yeah, most markets have that. Check Nvidia. So Nvidia, falling wedge on Nvidia. We're still waiting for the measured move to finish. So somewhere right there. We have a lot of historical support on Nvidia at this swing high. Market already responded bullish. We're breaking out for a couple of weeks. So is it still bullish? It hasn't hit its measured move. That is one note for Nvidia. Where is a measured move for a falling wedge? it's approximately the swing high of the falling wedge. So this area is approximately where this rally should be headed. And we're not quite there yet, but we also pulled back similar to other markets, and there's not a range here. This is a structured downtrend with a lack of follow through. So once you get out of those downtrends and you start breaking bullish or bearish, you start looking for opportunities probably on a moving average basis, because you buy like demand moving averages, curling 50 and 20s. This hasn't really even crossed bullish yet, so this was such an oversold name that it's going to take a while. But I would argue the measured move is somewhere in this range for this rally. And then from there, we'll kind of assess. You know, I don't want to give things too much room just because they're recovering with the market. You play towards their levels first. Apple and Exxon. Apple earnings today, $6 expected move. Let's say we close at 155, so 161 to 149. Everybody knows 150 is heavy on Apple. So if we go down, I'd go for 150. Volume and open interest on Apple. I mean, this is one of the heaviest option markets out there. So you're going to see some big nodes of interest at $5 levels. There's a lot of open interest at 140. Now, Apple's pretty far away from 140. It's also not within its expected move, but you have to question why it's so heavy here. There's still a bit of a downside approach here that the market could take. Overall, though, I mean, I don't see any area that's concerning here except for just a wall of inventory. So Apple looks fine up to 170. It looks like it could be hedged down to about 140. There's gaps in this area relative to the size. So Apple looks like it's going to be preparing for its earnings. Would I be a bull on Apple? I would have been a bull here for the exact same reason as I keep mentioning. Once you break a pivot, you look for the back test. That's a bullish entry. And then you start to say, is there anything above me that's a problem with this bullish entry? The 200 period is a problem. Apple has responded to the 200 and chopped it for a while. Now that we're coming back into it, this is going to be an area of contention. That's how it's structured. If Apple clears it without too much overhead, then that's great. That's bullish for the market. If it rejects it, it's still curling down. So watch out for the 200. You know, it's flat right now, I would say. But this is how a lot of markets, big picture, can turn. Here's Bitcoin. Similar chart. I know the asset class doesn't really relate, but it's a similar concept. You can get strong rallies off of oversolds and still reject and go down much lower. So just be careful of Apple moving forward. Apple rallies with the market. It also is dragging the market with it. So whatever Apple does, I would pay attention. Exxon, it's got earnings, so similar concept here. There was probably some price levels you could have identified before this. I see one here. That's an interesting swing high that responded, but it's similar to all of energy. You look at like Oxy. There's ranges here. There's previous levels being tested. And you look at XLE and it's kind of got that similar look and feel. Massive drawdown, but a return, you know, a bounce. And whether you're looking at CVX or XOM, they're in similar postures. They both drew down a lot. I would argue that CVX was worse, but Exxon did bounce, and it actually did make it to its 200, so it's a little bit stronger, but um, it's hard to take it here, bullish or bearish, because you have earnings and intraday. You just kind of play whatever the short-term structure is. It's gapping up a little bit, so you might want to look for a pullback entry for longs. It's coming into a big pivot, so you might want to say, even if it's long, I'm going to look out for a rejection here. So those levels are all you need as an intraday trader. Big picture though, this is coming into a turning, so it could be shaken up here. $2.50 expected move. Some inventory there. Looks like 100 stands out, kind of like a sore thumb, but really 95 is your expected move if we close anywhere near today's price, and about 87 downside. So would you suggest an option play on HYG if you want to, Tracy? HYG is a market just like anything else. You can use technicals and anticipate rallies or rejections just like any other market. And it's a very liquid option market. So it's a perfectly fine instrument for taking trades. Knowing which direction it's going to go, that's up for the market to tell us. But there are levels here. There are rejection points. There are moving averages, trends. And you just want to note the kind of behavior this market has relative to risk on and risk off behavior. You see risk off behavior, you see it return. Risk off behavior, return. Equities are inherently risk on assets, and therefore if this is bullish, equities can be bullish. So if you want to play it like that, you can. All right, I'm gonna look at YouTube real quick. mRNA, we'll quickly look at two here. I think the monthly levels are pretty well set up here. I've got a couple of them marked. They're not fully extended out. Let's go to the daily and see if there's anything of note. I mean, like I said, look at mRNA big picture. Has it really done anything special? There's a low and a high, a low that was established, a high off the bounce, and pretty much every reaction we've seen has been touching or testing, rejecting highs. This one was actually a bit questionable. It went kind of low end here, and this one almost looked like a breakdown. But when you come back in and pull on a back test, we rally to the highs. The structure of mRNA is not anything of note. And when you're sitting mid-range, that's even worse, because you get this concept that it could go either way. The volume profile says mRNA has a lot of value at 147.75. So if it's at that price, it's hard to take a trade on it because it can do anything. Could go up, could go down, could go sideways. It's value. So be careful with those concepts. Mid-range though, this lower bound right here might be an interesting spot for a back test. If you see a bullish reaction here, and you kind of have to argue mRNA didn't do anything yesterday on a bullish rally. So why is mRNA lagging? But it is a back test area after a decline, strong rally, and a pullback. So there's a shorter term pivot in there that you can play. And that's pretty much it. Some large SPY put butterfly orders being placed at 325, 340, 355. You think they were selling it or buying it? I have no idea. There are ways to tell that. So if those orders are still there, and if they're out of the money put butterflies, they're probably hedges. So they're probably buying them. That's what I would guess, but I have no idea. Okay, so GDP numbers are about to be out. I'm going to shift over to pre-market prep. allow Carlos and Norm to talk us through the morning. So everybody trade safe. Expect a reaction in just a moment, and I will talk with y'all next week. Have a great rest of your week, and obviously look forward to Monday's session.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys are had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I am doing well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Can't complain at all. So we got some numbers coming out here. I see the SPYs already reacting. Let's see
Yes,
how that is going to
bouncing
play out.
around.
Yep.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we just had all the data for the day drop, which included GDP for first quarter showing a negative 0.9% read versus the estimate of growth of 0.5%. As we have discussed all week, that is, you're not in the room, buddy. You are only broadcasting to YouTube, it seems.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, the sound. The sound is in the room now.
There we go. Sorry, guys. So we just printed negative 0.9% GDP for second quarter. We discussed all week. That is the traditional. That now meets the traditional definition of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. I don't know why they don't call it loss or something else, but negative growth is the technical term. Sounds a little. It's always sounded strange to me. Sorry, but anyway, so there you go.
We have become so sensitive. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
No, it's always been called negative growth, but it's just
Yeah.
it's always it's a weird term to me.
Call it a loss. We're losing. That's it. It's like with the kids, they give a prize to everyone, even the guy in last place. I mean, parents feel differently about it, but let's not even get into that. It's just funny. That's more damage than good.
I anticipate we'll have a growing list as we go through. That having been said, a couple of things that are overall the overall helping our list, and that is number one. I tweeted about it yesterday. Senator Manchin saying that he is on board for a rebuilt, repurposed reconciliation bill, which they tried to push as Build Back Better last year. That he was not on board with, but he came out yesterday and said that he came to an agreement with his party, his caucus, to approve some sort of bill. That the details are still up in the air, but that involves green energy stuff, solar stuff. So you've got a whole lot of solar on the gap up this morning.
Yeah, I'm seeing that here. Plug. I think Run is one of them. Plenty of stuff. CHPT. It is just jam-packed this morning with that. So definitely in play. I saw your tweet. You did mention that these were being played based on that news, and obviously we're seeing that now. All right, guys, let's get into it.
Because these were good when these were in play previously.
Oh yeah,
these were good to trade.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Sorry, guys, I'm just shifting some stuff around here. My desk is a little messy. Okay, here we go. All right, excellent. Guys, gap up list today on both sides. Just huge this morning. We got a lot going on here. A lot of stuff in the red too. Big names like Meta, Shopify is on here. We have Coin, Mara, Riot, all in the red this morning. American Airlines down 2.4. We'll have some fun today. Very mixed situation here, as you said. A lot in the green, a lot in the red, and it's only going to get worse as these numbers continue to shake out here. So let's get to it, guys. Quick thing yesterday. I mean, yesterday was an amazing day. We had Mara on deck. We'll look at this stuff real quick since we have a lot to go through. Here's Mara's 5-minute. Really, really good trading on this one. Had a nice little pop. And then look in the afternoons for those afternoon traders. If you're trading all day here, look how beautiful that was. A nice breakout all the way to 1250 from 1080. So again, just a beautiful pop there. Here is Snap. Sold off for the entire day. Got better after 12 here. Got real nice. You can see the drop there on Snap. So it just took a bit to get going. Apple was real nice. My eyes were on Microsoft yesterday, but look at Apple here, guys. How well this traded. Also, beautiful pop, beautiful breakout. Very similar to what Microsoft did. That's the one we traded yesterday. Meta here also got a nice little pop. I didn't watch the price action too much on Meta, but again, also traded decent yesterday. Tesla wasn't great for me. I didn't see nothing great on Tesla yesterday. So, it did get better later on. I haven't seen this yet. So it did get better later on. But at the start wait, that's not yesterday. Yesterday wasn't like that. It wasn't that great yesterday. I don't think it was. Hold on. Here's Tesla. Yeah, so I didn't really watch Tesla. Okay, there, nice trade. Yes, on Tesla, very similar to what Microsoft did. Everything going north, obviously, with the SPY and everything doing well. And I didn't look at AMD again. Everything was on Microsoft yesterday for me. AMD, nice engulfing pattern and traded very, very clean towards the upside. So that is what we had. But many of us, guys, we took advantage of Microsoft, as you guys know, had a beautiful opening, a breakout here in the 1 minute, and a nice continuation all the way up to 265, a daily level that we had. So just a great setup on that one yesterday. All right, so that is yesterday's action. Let's take a look at what we have today, and we'll hop over into, first of all, let's get Control A, Control X. We'll remove this and get this out of the way. There we go. And now let's take a look at what we have on deck here, guys. Starting with our gap up list, we're going to look at Plug, which is leading the way this morning, up 15%. And if we look at Plug here, guys, this is started yesterday, right? So you can see here. And this morning we are nice 15% up right now, 1.4 million shares traded. So Norm, as you mentioned, all of these are kind of leading the way here. SPW is one of hold on, something is not linking. No wonder. I'm like, why is this not changing? And it's because we have to link our trade ideas every morning. So we'll do that here. Let's go ahead and link our trade ideas into our montage, and that will set that up. Here we go. Okay, and we can get this out of the way. Perfect. So I want to see how many of these do we have. I know I'm going to watch Plug. Plug is a good one, so we'll keep that one on deck. So Plug is nice. SPWR, I'm assuming Sun Power. Yep. Yeah. Run, I think it's another one. Yep. Okay. FSLR.
Everything on there except for Tablespoon, as you call it, TBLT.
yeah.
RCL, Save.
BE, what's BE?
Bloom Energy. That's an alternative energy play. Just about everything up there except for the few at the bottom.
All right, and then at the bottom we have Royal Caribbean. Royal is on here. Royal Caribbean. Interesting. We'll see what's happening there. Save, which is insane, and we have as Zim here as well. All right, so for energy, I'm definitely looking at Plug. I think it's a one that we have traded quite a bit in the past, and it can trade very well. I would like to watch another one. I just don't know which one that will be. ChargePoint is another one that I traded before, and actually used to be a great trader, as Norm, as you mentioned, and probably has one of the better pre-market activities this morning and better daily. So I think I'm gonna go with Plug and ChargePoint, CHPT this morning. Those two are gonna be on my list there. So I think that's good enough for now. EVGO is another one that I know can trade well. Right now, pre-market is not looking all that great compared to Plug and ChargePoint. So I'm gonna keep this one off the list for now. All right, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line is on here. What positive news can they possibly have this morning?
They had earnings, and their earnings were a little bit. Let's see here. They had earnings this morning. I think their guidance was a little weaker than expected. I'm breaking that down. I'm not a huge fan of trading that one, frankly. No. It was in play pretty well back in the day. When all the cruise ships were shutting down along with the others, but still it kind of was the third out of three of the cruise lines. So it's just never been something that really
Yeah, NCLH and CCL obviously, and NCL. What is it? NHCL. Always forget this ticker. There we go. And CLH. So this one here, guys, these two are a lot better, and they're not looking great this morning neither. So I'm going to keep RCL off the list for now. Save is just so risky, guys. I mean, we saw this yesterday.
Yeah.
I keep this off my list. It's just not a fun one to look at, really.
So this is garbage either way. This is a
Yeah.
buyout. They approved. This has been going back and forth. JetBlue's been trying to acquire them for months. That's been rejected. It's been very public. They finally agreed to be acquired. That having been said, and it's a cash offer. That having been said, this might move around because there are a lot of people that don't think this will be approved on concerns of competition in the airline space. So antitrust concerns on it. So it'll probably move around a little bit, but that's why the price on Save is $25 right now. JetBlue's agreed to acquire them for $33.50. That's why there's such a big spread there.
Yeah, it'll be a tricky one to actually trade today for sure. All right, let's head to our gap down list this morning, guys. Run is also another one, by the way. An energy run, it could be a good possible. I believe we have seen this one do something in the past. So we can add run here as a possible swap. All right, heading down to our gap down list this morning, COUR, we are down 37% today at 333,000 shares traded. So this is obviously not having fun at all. What's going on with this one? This is taking a nice bloodbath.
Yeah, they had the losings this morning. So
the losings. So yeah, they're getting crushed here today, guys. Not a great trader. Extremely light on volume. They have one day with 7 million. The rest seem to be almost under a million or at a million. So I don't expect anything great on that. We're gonna find something better than this today. Here's TDOC. TDOC is down 23%. Also getting crushed, guys. This one can actually do some things. The issue with this already is look at the great trading you had yesterday. And by the way, if you haven't looked at Ed's recap, check that out. Some really good earnings play. I didn't watch him live, but I saw the recap last night. Man, really great stuff. TDOC was on his deck there, and you can see why. Look how clean this play was here after earnings. So I like TDOC for today. I think we can get something out of that one. Possible continuation there. 1 million, down 22%. PGY has been on our list back and forth. I just really do not like this garbage stock. This is a garbage stock for sure. I mean, just look at it yesterday with the volume still trading horrible. Manages to somehow put some interesting daily here, but intraday is just brutal. So not a fan of that. Here's LUV. We are down 6%, and this is interesting because we're losing a level. Let me change the color of my pen here. Where's my pen app? No, I'll do that later. Interesting level we lost here at 40, so that's good. This could be nice today. Maybe a possible. I'm sure we could find something better. CMCSA usually has been on our list before. Yeah, it's just a horrible stock. We'll skip down to Redbox, also another one that's not looking all that good this morning. Very light on volume. Meta is down 4.5 after a huge day yesterday. So very interesting stuff here, man. I mean, we're below the lows from yesterday after such a day. So this is after reportings last night. Did not go well. So you had a nice rally and then gave it all back and then some this morning. Definitely one to watch. Here we go. And we'll see where that goes. And LMND, no good. Shopify, a lot of activity on Shopify. Also did very well yesterday. We're down 3.4 today. Not sure if that type of action is going to continue. Also, the price action on this thing, by the way, very, very risky. Like it moves very funky. I know this looks good now, but if you're watching the price action yesterday on this, it was not the best trader. We have Roblox this morning as well. They are down 2.3, 150,000. We need more volume on these guys. I know it can trade very well. Actually, we went through a stretch on Roblox where it actually did very good, which is right over here. right? June to probably beginning of July, right? Nice little stretch with some really good breakouts. The intraday here looked better than I have ever seen on Roblox. So I don't think we're going to get that today, but let's see. All right, we got some airlines. United, American Airlines on deck here this morning. Starting with United, we are down 2.7. Look at this daily, guys. I really like this. Wish they had a little more volume, but that's okay. 156,000. News on airlines, Norm, not good with, I guess, everything happening with the numbers and all that good stuff. UAL.
This was so like Love reported, and they've got this potential merger going on. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that space.
Yeah. I like United's daily for sure. American Airlines, not so much because they're kind of stuck in here, and they don't have the volume you would expect out of American Airlines. Only 320. You want to see that thing in the 900 to a million, 1,000 shares traded already. So, put as a possible. Let's see if the volume does pick up, but it doesn't look great. United only looks better because of the way this daily setting up here for a possible drop, a loss of this 35.21. So, that'll be good there. GSK. No, GSK is no good. All right, let's take a look at the SPY. What are we doing here? So we're pushing higher, trying to get into green. So that is good there. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. We had a big day yesterday. Hopefully that can continue today. Norm, anything you like on your end this morning?
To be frank, I've been dealing with some spam on YouTube on some of our videos the last few minutes. Yeah, so I'm a little bit behind, and I'll just have to make that up. Plus,
no worries.
I've delayed looking a little bit. I mean, I called it yesterday. I want to look at these energy plays today. That's probably what I'll focus on primarily.
Yeah.
Etsy just popped up.
Etsy. Let's take a look at Etsy. Our buddy here. Tablespoon popping up 17%. Etsy, popping up here 6.5 on our gap up list. TBLT, guys, look at this thing, 420 to 560. Very careful. Back. Yeah. So, say what?
Steampunk. Etsy.
Oh, that's Steampunk. I didn't know that. So that's gapping up here 6.3. Look at the gap from there. Everything is just energy, guys, up 10% plus. I mean, it's a big energy day. All right, take it to the chat room, see what we have going on. I can never trade stocks with 5 letters in it. They do look weird. What are you looking at? CM, CSA? Yeah. They do look funky. A lot of SPACs open up with that type of five letters deal there. All right. Thank you, Christian. We appreciate that very much. Glad you're enjoying the show. Shopify is on my ban list. Yeah, Shopify could be very difficult to trade. Oxy, Nvidia. Let's take a look at Oxy here this morning. Oxy, I am not sure on Oxy today, Manuel. I think it can move, right? We have a lot of energy stuff, and this can affect slightly Oxy this morning. But I just think things are going to get better volume. Now, I also understand that Oxy, we know this for a fact, they don't get great volume in the pre-market, so don't put too much weight on just having 195. That can change very quickly. This can be a good one. I don't want to take up a spot even on the secondary list right now. This could be a good one on scanner. So if it pops up on Trade Ideas, I'll be looking to check that out. But I think I'm not going to need the scanners today. I think I'm going to be pretty well fed with what's going on here on our main list. Here's Nvidia, guys. Nice pop on Nvidia. A beautiful daily as well. Definitely going on my list. And then Nvidia is going to prompt me to look at Apple and AMD as well. So let's take a look at those now. Here is Apple this morning. Let's make sure this is good. Yeah, Apple also beautiful daily, breaking out very nice here in the green after being in the red quite a bit here, down to 155. So I like Apple also. And then let's take a look at our buddy AMD here. AMD this morning also breaking out, and they all have just this amazing daily. So really just pick your favorite on those three. I got Nvidia, I have Apple, and I'm going to put AMD down as a possible this morning. So we got plenty there to watch today. All right, let's take a look at what else we have, guys. So Google is 5 letters. Yes, GOOGL. And this just doesn't trade well, even with their new price thing here. Yesterday, not that much credit because everything did this. So I won't give you credit for that. It's just not great. So heading down, we have XOM. XOM, you know what? Zoom, ExxonMobil. I don't know if they're going to be great today. They could be, but I mean, just look at the list we have right now, guys, and the pre-market action we're getting and the volume. Plus, these things have catalysts behind it. So when you have the trifecta, right? Clean pre-market action, you have volume, and you have a catalyst. You're in good shape. So you have plug on that. You have CHPT on that. You have TDOC, which is usually not the best trader, but they're dropping nicely here. They have volume, great volume, and they had, I believe, earnings last night, right? So that's
Yeah.
when you want to watch. You have Meta, which is just getting crushed here. Let's see if they're looking to bounce back. Big day yesterday. It's gonna be tough to look at an XOM this morning, but keep it on your secondary list maybe, or be on the lookout for his the scanners. And also depends how you like to trade. Maybe this what we're looking at is not your cup of tea. Maybe you have to look at something a little bit different. So you guys are throwing out some good names here: Tesla, FSLR, AMD. We'll look at those in a second. Let's go ahead and do company events and announcements. We'll come back. We'll have a lot of time to go through this. My list is kind of somewhat done already, but we can still go through some more stuff here just to make sure we cover everything. All right, let's head over to our website. And if you ever want to see what's going on in our community, guys, bearbootraders.com, and come right up here where you see this little webinars thing. Click on that. Yeah, I'm using black on black. Very smart, Carlos. Yeah. Click. Yes, sir. Guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Let's go to webinars.
Don't forget, every Monday night, you've got Carlos doing onboarding and technology, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Tuesday, strategy. Next Tuesday is Eamon. That is how to read price action through candlestick patterns. Note the special time, 5 o'clock, because of his time zone. Not sure what the week after that is. You'll notice the date for that Andrew webinar. So we're working on that. There will be I promise there will be a strategy webinar that Tuesday, but it's not the one shown there. All right, next we had Randy Howell last night, who was fantastic. Next week we'll have Dr. Kenneth Reed at 8 p.m. Eastern for psychology, talking about habits versus rules, the easier path to mastery. And then the following Wednesday, Creda putting the middle edge pieces together. Every Thursday, we've got mentoring. So today you'll have, I don't know if it's being covered or not. John is on vacation this week, so I don't know what the situation is for today there. But you do have after hours trading and mentorship with Ed at 4, Thor at 8. Don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator. Just go to stocktradingsimulator.com to check it out. And PreMarket 24, you can use that to get a discount off the intro membership. It is $39. Takes it down to 24, 7 calendar days, 5 trading days. Is not a recurring payment. It only bills you one time. Try the room out for a week, see if it's a good fit. And I was actually supposed to send you a new slide. That Read 50 has been taken off the site, so you might still be able to use it, but it's discontinued for now. My fault.
All right.
But if it works, it works. Half off the Elite annual membership and free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Reed. But you'd have to be sure to type in the promo code if you check out with it.
All right, take advantage of that, guys. Try to sneak in there if you can. All right, thank you very much.
There's a good question right here.
Yeah.
Sigma Rob, why do we think the market is rallying on way worse numbers than expected? GDP number was horrible. Two things, and these are guesses. First of all, it's going to take a little bit of time for this to settle out. It ain't going to be done in 30 minutes. It's going to take a couple of days to see how people move on this. But first of all, I'll say it wasn't way worse than expected. It was worse than the expectation. Many people were expecting negative growth, negative GDP print. Some I've heard were anticipating, -2, -3, -4%. So -0.9 in contrast to that isn't terrible. That's number one. Number two, we have now met the traditional meaning of, and I'm not going to get into this BS that they're throwing around, trying to change the definition of what a recession is. The traditional meaning of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. We have that now. A lot of times, once you have a recession actually declared, things start to clear themselves up. So, exactly. Acknowledging we're in a recession, relief for the market, very well could be. So we'll see. Now that we're in a recession, and that word's going to be spoken about more, and they're going to be talking about negative GDP for 2 consecutive quarters, that will rein in people's spending habits to a degree. And there's just, it's been talked about a lot in the past, talking yourself into a recession, scaring the people so much, even when things are fairly decent. Which I'm not saying they are, but you can do that. So now that the mainstream media will be talking about the R word, people out there, that maybe interest rates don't have to be hiked so high, inflation comes back down, and it's not as bad as it could be. If we continue to pretend we're not a recession and keep tightening, the interest rates keep going up and up and up, inflation continues to stay high or rise because nobody's concerned about it, then that's not good. So there you go. Carlos, I believe you're muted, sir.
I am on mute. Yes, thank you. So energy news. Someone asked today, what's the energy news? And Norm, you spoke about this a little bit already. Obviously, we have a lot on here. Is Nova Energy Company as well? Yes, it is. Sonova Energy. So what's the news on that, Norm, for those that missed it this morning?
So last year we had the big reconciliation bill. We have a number of people in the room and on YouTube that aren't from the U.S. But the way it works here for a bill to be passed, it has to pass the House with a majority, and then the Senate, it has to essentially win 60 out of 100 votes to get through a filibuster. There's an exception one time a year. It's reconciliation. It's what it's called. They can brand a bill reconciliation one time per year when it has to do with the budget. Last year, they tried to do Build Back Better with a ton of spending. Senator Joe Manchin, West Virginia, said he wouldn't be on board. He's a Democrat, so they didn't have the necessary votes to get a majority. He came out yesterday, said he has made a deal with his caucus for a smaller bill for this year's reconciliation that would involve a lot of their green energy dreams. So,
yep. So that's why you're getting this incredible pop today. So these energy company guys in play today. I have 3 on my list: Plug, CHPT, and Run. I think these are the better ones that we've seen in the past trade very well, especially Plug. That'll be the main one I'm going to keep my eye on. So you can see now that pre-market activity looking very good. All right, guys, let's get to some levels here this morning. ATD asking, I'm not sure if I can communicate this correctly, but when you're watching level 2 on the queues, how do you view all the 40 slots? There's no way I'm viewing all 40 slots on level 2. I mean, I don't know how you would do that, but for me personally, I'm not viewing level 2 like that. This is just another indicator that I use to make sure that my plan, but I'm looking at the 5-minute open range breakup. There's nothing in here that looks completely out of whack that I should be concerned with. But I don't put a lot of weight on level 2 the way other traders do, right? You have to look at the way you trade and your style. For example, Thor puts a lot of weight on level 2 and what he sees there. I really don't. I'm only look at that if there's a level, is there's a possibility of it breaking out of a level. And if I see the ask piling up, that's when it's important to me. Outside of that, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that happens there that you just don't really know, what those orders are. So unless they're really close to the price action, I'm not worried about things that are all the way at the bottom there because we see those go and come back and disappear plenty of times. Actually, I saw a great documentary of someone that used to work for these market firms and all that, and they'll put orders out there just to fake you out, right? So I don't trust level 2 to an extent. The good thing about indicators, guys, and this is any indicator you have, moving averages, VWAP, doesn't matter. Remember, that's just an indicator. At the end of the day, price action, this little guy right here, this guy is king. And every candle before that, these guys are the ones that are telling you what is the story building up, right? So just make sure you're paying a lot of attention to the price action. Use your indicators to support what you're trying to do, but just be very careful and putting a whole lot of weight on just level 2. Like, there's no way you could trade off level 2 only. There's no way you could trade off just the VWAP only. There's no way you could trade off just one indicator. You got to have a set of information to make the best decision. But I'll tell you this guy right here is never wrong, right? This guy's always right. All All right, guys, let's get to it. So we're looking at Plug. It is up 15%, 2.1 million shares traded right now. Great pre-market activity at the moment. That is staying with us there. CHPT is looking very good. TDOC looking very, very nice there as well. Meta here. It's getting a little sloppy the last couple of minutes, but we'll see. I think this thing will be in play today. Nvidia is looking very nice, also breaking out here. And Nvidia, Apple, and AMD, which I have all the way down here, are all looking the same. You can watch either one of those this morning. So let's do some levels. Let's see here. Can you please talk a little bit about what do you look in the chart to pick the stock in play? Oh, we're doing it right now. We'll talk. We'll do it an extensive breakdown of Plug. We'll do that. So first thing we're looking at, obviously, is the first step we do here every morning is it gapping up or down, regardless of a catalyst, right? Is it gapping up or down? Because sometimes you're seeing stuff that gaps up that might not technically have a strong catalyst, but it's still in the gap up list. It still has great volume, right? So that's the first thing we look at. If it's gapping up, then we're going to look at, okay, what is the catalyst causing this movement? And if there's a catalyst, a strong one, great, right? Plug, CHPT, have an amazing catalyst this morning. Obviously, Norm just broke that down for you, right? That is a great, great catalyst for them. So they're most likely going to be strong. This thing held them down before. And actually, when he was not agreeing to this bill, right, we had a huge gap down in sell-off. I want to say it was this date here, but don't quote me. I thought it was a lot further out than that. It might have been this drop here, but there was a time that he said he was not going to be supporting this bill. Now he is. That's a big win for these guys, for the energy companies, right? So obviously you're seeing that in play. So that's the two things I'm looking at. Let's see if it's gapping up 15%. Do we have volume? 2.1 million, yes. And we also have the third thing I'm going to look at is a two-piece part here. Great daily if we can, but a nice clean pre-market activity, which we're seeing that now, right? This is a very clean pre-market activity on Plug. Part of that is because you have volume. Usually you don't have a clean pre-market activity. When you look down, you have no volume in the pre-market. So Plug is looking good for that. So we're going to set some levels here that make sense. 20 is the high of the pre-market. The low of the pre-market is going to be 1855. These two levels we keep on here because they're important to us. We love these breakouts out of these two levels, whether it's breaking down or breaking out. They can be very important. They play a big part. And if you notice on the daily, sometimes, for the most part, you're going to see these levels correlate with some levels on the daily, right? If you look at 1855, it's not a random level. You see clearly some resistance here happening. There's a little bit of support here, some more resistance happening around this area. Got a couple of days that break out of that, right? And then when they break out, you're looking at 1934, right? 1934, you have a couple of days slamming against that. Remember, by the way, this is an area. It's not going to be exact every time, but you see that area there being tested, right? That 1934. Well, look at the pre-market today. Same thing here. That's an area of resistance we had earlier on, became a little bit of support, and now we're breaking out of that, right? So these levels can sometimes, you can see them play out nicely in the pre-market as well. Why we want to keep that on here? Because in the intraday, this thing can come down and sell off to that level. That can be an area of support and resistance. If you're breaking out of that, you can create some good movements. You guys remember Microsoft yesterday? Let's go to Microsoft. Of course, you remember Microsoft because I think we all traded this one. But if you guys remember Microsoft yesterday, we had, let's go ahead and look at the intraday action. There's a couple of things that look really good on Microsoft yesterday that made it a really great trade. And actually, let's look at the 1 minute. I want to show you guys this here because this is what you want to be, one of the things you want to be looking out for. This is it right here. And we don't have it now, but we also had our pre-market high, I believe, or our daily was at 261.50. So when this thing was coming out here, when it was breaking out, you got a couple of things happening. You got the 1 minute open range breakup. That's what Andrew took. And then you have the 5 minute open range breakout forming as well, which is right around here. What do you see here as you're breaking out of these levels? In addition to the strategy, you're seeing what? Volume, of course, right? Seeing volume. But you're also seeing the breakout of these levels. So when you can combine, your strategy with a breakout of an actual level, pre-market high, daily level, pre-market low, breakdown, that's going to become more powerful because there are people that are trading that strategy. So if you have an open range breakup or breakdown and you're doing it off a key level, you're going to get some nice momentum. And that's exactly what we saw in Microsoft yesterday. Look at this beautiful breakout of 262, another breakout of this level here at 261. This is where Andrew got in. Beautiful pullback towards the moving averages in the VWAP. Another great entry. Andrew added on there. And then you had the pop there, right? So this is why we're doing these levels of pre-market highs. This 265 was a big daily level. That's why we put that on here. We didn't get to it, but man, we got pretty close. That was what I was aiming for. We got really, really close, right? What is this? 264.89. We'll take that, right? Couldn't quite get to 265, which was our daily level. I'll show you that here. We just didn't put that there randomly. 265 is going to be right over here. You see this level there? Here as well, tons of support and resistance you're having across the board. That is why we're doing these levels, because the price action does respect what's happening with these levels, right? So hopefully that can help you here. As we're looking at plug, we're going to go now at the bigger picture. We have our high and low of the pre-market this morning. Let's look outside of that. Where do we have some more levels here? If we go to the top, clearly here you have a lot of touches on this area. This is going to be 2132, right? So we're going to slam that down. And I'm going to take even the risk here to go even higher, 2309, because I think today, if there's any day where this thing can really rally and get going, it's today. The catalyst they have right now is really, really good. I want to say this is a drop we have. I don't remember the exact time frame when things were negative, and now that news has turned. Not 100% positive, but more on the positive side, which is looking pretty good. Towards the bottom, in case we get some kind of fake out or sell the news event, we have 1782, which is right over here. A great area of support, resistance across the board. So hopefully that can help you understand what we're looking for. When we see a stock in play right now, plug is the definition of a great stock in play. It has everything going for it, including volume, great pre-market activity. Okay, daily, not the best, but it also has a very strong catalyst. CHPT is going to fall under the same thing here today as well. Let's remove some of these levels. We have our high of our pre-market, which we tested quite a bit this morning, 1447, and we also have 1354. Towards the bottom, we have highs and lows of the last two trading days, are doing a pretty good job there. And just in case we were to take a dive here on this news, which hopefully not, 1191. So retesting the high of the pre-market one more time here. We got okay volume, not a plug type volume where they're sitting at 2.2 million, but still good enough. 551 is decent. So here 1491, another level on the daily. And then here, the best level we have is really 1592, right? We have a good level there. I would love to have something between here, because I don't think you're going to get here in one clean move. You're going to have an area of support and resistance coming up here as you make that move. I want to say 1550 just because it's a whole dollar. But also you're seeing a couple of days opening, closing right around that 1550. So that could be a minor level of support and resistance. I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for 1592 and obviously the breakout of 1491 if we can get there, breaking out of our pre-market high this morning. So we'll be looking out for those areas. Right now looking pretty decent so far in the pre-market. I do like this bounce we're getting here, 1414, and that is also being confirmed on our daily level right here, 1414. You can see that bounce there is happening at an area where we have seen key resistance in the past over and over again, right? TDOC, let's take a look here. TDOC as well, moving nicely. Let's see if there's going to be a gap fill type day on TDOC. We're bouncing from 31.22 is the low of the pre-market. We're sitting now at the high of the pre-market, 34.88. Obviously, our gap down here has been 20%, so definitely getting a bit of a drop here this morning based on earnings. We do have a level here of support, resistance, more resistance than anything, around 36.85. And then here, TDOC is not the best trader. I suspect today they're going to be in play. Why we say that? Well, look at the volume already alone. Yesterday traded about 7 million. In the pre-market today, we traded 1.5 already, right? So that's a big chunk of what their average daily volume is, right? And this gap down, obviously putting this thing in play. Towards the top, I'm going to mark down 38.55, another area where we're seeing resistance here, and then tons, this thing is in the way, tons of support happening right on there. So that's a good one this morning. So let's see. Towards the bottom, the only thing I like as a level is going to be 28.99, and we'll see where that goes there. All right, here's Meta. Meta's a little messy right now. You have to see how this thing is going to play out. So at the moment, they're gapping down 4.3. They were down even further, lower at a 159. 159.01, so they bounced back quite a bit already this morning. It's a lot of movement on here on this one. I know Artie took a live trade here on the closing bell yesterday. So hopefully things are going to work out. That option is going to expire next week. So hopefully he's gonna crush it on this thing here. Towards the bottom, 154.24. And I think you're pretty much set, guys, because above the pre-market high, you do have your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So pretty set there. I don't think you need to add anything else at the moment on that list. So Nvidia, take a look at Nvidia here. Nvidia, Apple, and AMD, all 3 of them looking very nice. Nvidia right now breaking out, trying to stay in the green. 175.52 is the low of the pre-market, and the high is 179.72. You got a lot going on up here, by the way. You got a lot going on up here. A lot of resistance. Last time we were here, we were not able to get above that. We did slam back down to 170. Big day yesterday for many of these stocks, and now we're retesting the high of yesterday, plus that area of resistance that has been hard to get above on Nvidia. So let's see if we can get a breakout. If we are looking possibly at 182 is where we have the most touches on this level. You got a couple of days down here. Some wicks are between these 2 levels, but for the most part, the big touches are happening at that 183.26. That is what we'll be aiming for if this thing does decide to break out here. So here's Apple, very similar daily, I like Nvidia and also AMD. Low of the pre-market 155.23. The high of the pre-market pretty much close to the high of yesterday. A little bit lower by a couple of cents. You might not even need to mark that down. 157.25 instead of 157.38. Again, it's peanuts there. But if we were to break out of that, let's take a look on where we can find some good levels. We're looking at now April, May timeframe. Here, clearly a level support, resistance across the board. You're seeing that very well there. And then slightly above that, you have a level at 162.20. So 164.20, 167.20 are looking good. And in between here, you know, I like this level too, guys, by the way. 160.46 might actually be just 160. But here you can see there's a lot of support resistance happening there as well. And it's kind of nice midpoint between the big level of 164.20 to have on there. So I do like that there this morning. Towards the bottom, guys, plenty of stuff. Highs and lows for the last 2 trading days are doing a pretty good job. So I think you're set on Apple. Secondary list, we have Run, another energy company that's moving very well this morning. Less volume than CHPT and Plug. Plug is obviously leading the way. LUV, gap down here, down to 6.8. This is Southwest Airlines, so they're not doing well. We'll see what happens there. I don't think I ever day traded Southwest, so we'll see. I do have United Airlines. I like their daily better than any of the other airlines right now, better than Southwest, and also better than American Airlines. Their daily is nice for a possible breakdown, right? When you have a breakdown of such a critical level like this, you can get some really nice continuation, and that is what I'll be looking forward to on United Airlines. If it hits the scanners, right now the volume is not really calling my attention. It's got to hit the scanners with some good volume here. American Airlines also very light on volume. AMD is looking very good as well. Again, very similar to Apple and Nvidia this morning. So, all right, guys, we're all set. That is our list so far. We have Thor watching his list. He's going to be looking at Q, SPY, Meta, QCOM, and Plug. And we have Brian early on this morning. He is looking at Plug, TDOC, TBLT, guys. Cannot stress enough how risky that stock is, and also he's looking at CHPT. So TBLT is still, what are we showing us? 2.1 million shares float. Just again, cannot stress enough how dangerous this stock is. Not even risky. This stock is very dangerous. So please be very careful trading this. You guys saw what happened last time with the drop out of nowhere. It dropped like $2 in a matter of seconds, right? So just, again, very careful. If you're not experienced trading, if you just started out, you know, this is something you don't want to even have on your list. You know, don't even put on your list. You have tons of other stuff you can watch here. Again, risky. All right, we have Jared coming in with Plug, FCEL, Meta, QCOM, secondary list. He's looking at Etsy and ARRY as well on his list. Peter's reporting IPOs for today. Actually, let me bring this over Let me do this. Let me disable the video so you guys don't get the mirror effect. And we will bring this list right over here so you see what's happening. All right, so we left off with Peter. A couple of IPOs he's reporting today. You can see those there. And we are all set, guys. Brian and Andrew trading live next. We have a very, very, very exciting day today. It's a lot going on this morning. There's a lot happening here. We have energy, we have TDOC, we have Meta, we have Nvidia. We got a little bit of everything that's going on there. Carlos Edog wanted to know the code for the 50% discount on the Elite membership. I don't remember what it is. Is it I think it's RE50. He can try it. It was supposed to come off the site. He can try and see if it works. I'll put it here for you now. Yeah, there it is, RE50. Give it a shot before Norm takes it off. You want to do it right now. It was not supposed to be here. It might still work, but no guarantees. But go for it, man. Go for it. Go for it. It won't be working tomorrow. I'll tell you that much. Might not be working after I'm done with this show. So no pressure. No pressure. All right, guys, we are all set. 9:15. Brian is up next. Thank you so much for joining the pre-market prep. We appreciate you guys very much over on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so. Oh, 143 likes. We're going south. Recession is in full swing here, guys. We are not getting even 200. We're not even getting our recession minimum, which is 250, and we're definitely not getting our goal of 350, 300. So guys, take care, trade safe. I will see you today. Today we have a guest on the closing bell. Yeah, we do have a guest today on the closing bell, so don't miss that. Don't miss out on that. Artie is going to be hosting it with Andrew, so definitely join us. I believe it's the guy that used to trade in Goldman Sachs. I want to say it's that gentleman. I can't recall the name right now, but guys, closing bell 3:30 p.m. this morning. Do not miss. It's going to be a fun one. I'll see you guys in chat there. Oh, 224. Okay, good. We woke up some people. Very nice. Thank you guys for the likes. We'll see you there at 3:30. It's going to be a great guest. I know Artie's been announcing him for a couple of weeks now, and we're going to have some fun. So see you in chat there at 3:30. And today is Thursday, so we do have psychology, mentorship tonight by Thor, by Ed, and John is off today. We'll see who's doing coverage for him. And have a great day, everyone. Trade safe, and we'll see you guys later. But before I do that, let me read out another watch list here. Here's Peter's list: AMD, Apple, Meta, Plug, PFE, and TDOC. So, guys, great day today. Careful out there. I will see you guys at 3:30 for the closing bell over on YouTube, and we'll hang out here in our chat. Have a good one, everyone.